Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA video, we're going to be talking about the one Easter egg that Rockstar decided to change in the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. So, Rockstar made a lot of enhancements, improvements, changes to these games, but the one thing that Rockstar left intact were all the original references and Easter eggs. They didn't seem to change any of them. It doesn't matter if it's Apartment 3C in GTA Vice City. That is a clear reference to Scarface. A lot of the game was actually reference to Scarface, so you can still find that in there. It doesn't matter if it is the original Happy Easter Easter egg. That is still there as well in the Vice City News headquarters tower. You can still do things like shoot at the moon, and it will actually become bigger. Needless to say, pretty much any Easter egg that Rockstar had in these games, they decided to add them back. Again, in Vice City, you can find the human organs. In GTA San Andreas, you can find the wheelchair by the pier. There are a handful of Easter eggs. There are too many, honestly, to go in here. And Rockstar updated a handful of things that you see in the game, like the images and pictures that you find on the wall. As we've covered in previous videos, they might have now used assets from Red Dead Redemption 2 and GTA 5, since they're now available to them. So the pictures that you might see on the wall or the billboards, that might have been actually changed. But for the most part, all the Easter eggs have remained intact. You can still find them in the same spot and the same locations. But the one Easter egg that has changed actually has to do with the GANT Bridge, which is the suspension bridge in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And it's part of the Las Venturas Highway connecting San Fierro with Las Venturas. So the GANT Bridge is an iconic landmark of San Fierro, connecting Juniper Hollow and Palisades in San Fierro to Terra Robata and Bayside. Spanning the San Fierro Bay, the bridge also serves as the western gateway to the waterways, which divide San Andreas State. Now, the bridge is clearly modeled after the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, but it's shorter and tends to be bathed only in a low morning fog. Now, like the Golden Gate Bridge, the GANT Bridge is a suspension bridge supported by two pillars and painted international orange. Now, other similarities include a toll plaza on the San Fierro side and a large steel latticework structure supported by concrete and built over an old fort at Battery Point and into the hillside, providing the anchorage on the San Fierro side. Now, the GANT Bridge is home to a handful of Easter eggs. At the visitor center, there's an actual piece of cable that has a sign above it that reads, "Oh, amazing, that's mind-blowing." Actually, no, it's simple physics and not really that impressive. That remains the same in the definitive edition of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And even at the very top of the GANT Bridge's northern suspension tower, there's the sign that said there are no Easter eggs up here, go away. That remains the same as well. That was not changed. Now, the one thing that is changed is the facts about the bridge, because there is another large sign at the visitor center that reads this. The length of the bridge is 159.7 meters. The height is 60.3 meters above sea level. It contains 15,000 polygons, including LODs. It has a 600-meter draw distance. There's 11 textures, and it takes up a staggering 1.27 megabytes of disk space. So you can see that those last four things right there were references to how the developers had to build this bridge in-game, how much space it took, how many polygons it used, the draw distance that it has. This is the Easter egg that has gotten updated in the definitive edition of San Andreas. So let's actually take a look at what it is right now. It says this, bridge facts, the length is still 159.7 meters. It's still 60.3 meters above sea level. Now it is 34,815 polygons, including LODs. 3 babies were born during construction, 40 textures, and takes up a staggering 38.9 megabytes of disk space. That is incredible. So well done to the guys at Rockstar and Grove Street Games for not just upping the resolution on this, but actually putting in a brand new Easter egg. That is hilariously creative. Now, if we compare the differences here Instead of referring to the draw distance, it features that 3 babies were born during its construction. It also has 19,815 more polygons, including LODs that were used. It has 29 more textures, so you can see just how improved that was. And then the amount of disk space is also massive too. It takes up 37.63 more megabytes of disk space than the original GANT Bridge. That is crazy right there. I know that seems insignificant, but back in the day, they were probably like, boy, I don't know if we can spare 1.27 megabytes for this bridge. Now, it's almost like 30-something times the amount of megabytes. And that's a teeny amount compared to what we have today. So I just found this to be incredibly interesting, that this seems like this is the one Easter egg that Rockstar updated. In the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, all the others, for the most part, remain relatively the same. Again, aside from like upping the texture quality or maybe using a new asset, but as far as like actually going in there and changing it, this seems like it's the only one, which is really cool. So once again, I applaud the guys at Grove Street Games. I applaud the guys at Rockstar Games for making this change, because they very easily just could have upped the resolution on it, called it a day, and I don't think anyone would have complained. But instead, they went out of their way to just show how much space this actually takes up and the differences between those two games. And I don't think this was because Rockstar was being lazy or they didn't want to make these changes. As I'll explain in a video later on, I think they intentionally left the games in the state that they're in. I don't think they wanted people to experience these definitive editions and notice significant changes that did not give them the same nostalgia that they felt 20-something years ago. And so because of that, I think we purposely are seeing the same Easter eggs, we're seeing the same lines of dialogue. Otherwise, it would have just been a completely different game and would have not been considered the definitive edition. But if you are interested in that, I recommend sticking around on my channel a little bit later on in the day, because we're going to have a video explaining why Rockstar made that call. So anyways, I would love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What other Easter eggs have you found or noticed that might have some slight differences? This is the only one that I have seen so far, but I would, of course, love to hear from you guys in those comments down below, or which ones have you gone back and visited yourself? Let me know down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Rockstar Games videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.